I'm Liam from CryptoSlate, and today with me I have Guy from Coin Bureau. Thanks for joining us, Guy. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. I'm very well. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming on. So, I've been a fan of Coin Bureau for a long time. I think it is some of the most sophisticated, I guess I want to say, content on YouTube when it comes to actual. There's a lot of, I'm sure you'd agree, lots of different types of content on YouTube to do with crypto. Some of it is
Yeah.
just pump, and I think what's really important for me and the adoption of blockchain is content like yourselves, where it's clearly researched and details the specifics so people can learn.
Yeah. That's what we're all about, really. And that was very much the thinking behind starting the channel. We wanted to create a resource that people could rely on and trust, and that wasn't just about sort of screaming buy and all that sort of stuff. We
Yeah.
wanted we wanted to build something that that people could that was useful to people.
Because there's so much information, so many different types of crypto projects. Like, I mean, you must find it difficult yourself trying to keep up with everything. You've got a team now, I believe.
Absolutely, yeah. The team's been growing a lot recently, and yeah, we've got some really talented people working behind the scenes, and I mean that's the only way that we could hope to keep up with. As you say, there's so much information out there. There's so much happening. So yeah, we've got these wonderful people who are so into it as well and so dedicated, and yeah, just sort of constantly on the lookout and constantly researching and keeping an eye on what's going on. It's been great because yeah, as you say, it's so difficult to follow it sometimes.
So, I mean, one of the first things that I need to ask you is how long did it take you to come up with the poems at the start of the videos?
Do you know, if I'm having a good day, they really sort of trip off the tongue, if you like, trip off
Hmm.
the fingers. But sometimes I'll have been writing, I'll have been putting research together for
Hmm.
ages, and then I think, oh, I must do a rhyme for the disclaimer,
Yeah.
and it won't come all that quickly, and then I'll realize that I've spent maybe an hour on it and stuff, and it's like, God, if I spent that much time doing research, it'd be probably better spent. But yeah, we do. Again, the team do contribute with those
All
sometimes.
right.
So we kind of have we have a sort of open Google Doc
Hmm.
that people can chuck rhymes into when they're feeling
Brilliant.
inspired. And I must say, a lot of them are much better at it than me.
Fantastic. So, I was doing a bit of research around the channel, and I thought what was really interesting is if you look on some like Social Blade, there's plenty of tools to look at the monthly views and subscribers of your channel. They almost perfectly
Mm.
track the price of Bitcoin. So, are you the golden signal for Bitcoin? Should we be looking at you to know what the price is, or why do you think that is?
Wow, I'd love that if we were the golden signal. That would be amazing. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you check kind of all crypto YouTube,
Hmm.
they would all follow that. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, definitely kind of as the price of Bitcoin rises and generally takes altcoins with it, sort of general interest tends to rise as well, and
Hmm.
we really notice that. We really notice that with viewing figures and subscriber counts and things like that. That when the market itself is quite flat,
Hmm.
then we tend to, growth tends to really slow, and we do notice it. But yeah, I think all it needs is a nice pump, and sort of the
Hmm.
interest comes rushing back in like a wave.
You're looking forward to a good week of views then this week after last night, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I looked at the prices first thing this morning, as I always do, and I thought, okay, this could be a big week.
Yep, yep, definitely. So, but I mean, conversely, then, when the market's a bit more bearish, do you find it more difficult to create content?
Yes and no, I suppose, because yeah, sometimes you want to stay positive about things,
Hmm.
because even when things are bearish, we know that we're in a long-term uptrend. We know that the industry is growing all the time, but you have to look a little bit harder to find those kind of good news stories.
Hmm.
So again, I mean, I find the team comes in really useful here, because sometimes I'm a bit stuck for what we want to talk about, and people will have suggestions. People have been trawling through, various sort of little backwaters and stuff, and may come up with some other bits of good news. Something more interesting to talk about. But I mean, again, I guess we don't want to be too hype. If if
Mm.
if conditions are bearish, then I think we try to address those as well, and I guess help people understand perhaps why they're bearish. You know, that's something I've noticed that people seem to appreciate a lot, is when we can give okay, the market may have dumped 5-10% over a couple of days or whatever, but I think people generally feel a lot better about that if they know why. And again, I think that's a big part of our role.
I mean, you talked there about sort of a long-term uptrend. Do you feel it's important to try and separate the difference between, say, just the price of Bitcoin and what blockchain can do for humanity over a longer period?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I mean, the price is, the price can be a good indicator of where we are and, perhaps where we're heading. But I think it's becoming actually less and less important these days. I think because there's so much happening, you look at the price, I mean, especially over the last few weeks, you'll see that the price of Bitcoin has been kind of up and down. But the on-chain indicators are so strong about them, about the investment, about the institutional interest that's going into crypto and the development of it. So I don't think, I think price is only one sort of indicator that we have to look at. And as you say, like the future of the industry is so bright, and what it can do. I mean, I think we're only really scratching the surface of what blockchain can do and what it's going to make possible. So price is just one thing.
Yeah, I explained it to my mum. I kind of view it as something like in, like, say, early 2000s when we had the internet, or 1995 when internet first started to come. You could start to see what it was going to do in terms of connecting people, but no one imagined like the ease of, like, during lockdown, mum being able to FaceTime her kids and her grandkids, and like those future technology of how easy we thought the video phones would be, these hardwire sharp boxes that were on our desks. We didn't think it'd be a one device for all. And I kind of think, would you agree that maybe we might be in the same place with blockchain, in that we know lots of things it can do, but we also have got no idea what it could do?
Yeah, absolutely. And that for me is what's kind of so exciting about it, because as people, again, the early internet's a great example, but as people sort of get to grips with it and get comfortable with it, then they start to play with it. And that, I think, is when we'll see the explosion. We'll have kids in bedrooms, just thinking up things that we just can't even conceive of at the moment. And again, I mean, it's a bit of a mantra in crypto, isn't it, to say we're still early? But I think we are, in terms of we're only just getting started in terms of what the technology can do.
Definitely. I mean, you talk about explosions there. So what's it been like going from thousands of subscribers to, was it like 2 million in the space of like 18 months, 2 years?
Something like that. We're on the cusp of 2 million. I think we're like 1.99 million or something like that. So we're sort of expecting to tick over any moment now. It's been crazy. It's been crazy but cool. There have been times when I've sort of been looking at the subscriber counts going up and been thinking about that too much. And actually, one of the things that's been really useful over the last 18 months, 2 years, is to just kind of park that, not worry about that, just focus on the content. But I mean, I won't lie, it's a really exciting, sensation, I guess. And I think the other thing that kind of comes with it is you feel kind of the responsibility grows and stuff, because I mean, we always focus hard on research and accuracy and telling it like it is in the early days, but the need to do that, the need to kind of double check, check your facts again and again and again, only grows as you get more followers, because your responsibility grows. But I guess but it's a great feeling it's a great thing to feel like we're contributing to the industry. We're making a sort of progressively bigger contribution. So it's been great, but a little sort of not overwhelming, but mind blowing.
No, definitely. I mean, it's a fantastic growth. I mean, one of my next questions was going to be, and I think you've almost probably answered, is, do you ever feel drawn to having to create more sensationalist content like the rest of YouTube in order to gain more interest and more followers?
No, I mean, I won't lie that, viewing figures are really important to us. It's something that we do keep an eye on. And we do, we do pay attention to those when we're deciding what we're going to cover, because if we feel that something won't get many views, then it's perhaps not worth our time, or will be better done at a later date. So we do pay attention to those sorts of things. But no, as far as kind of sensationalist stuff goes, I think one of the reasons that we've attracted a lot of followers is because I think people kind of like and respect the fact that we don't sensationalize, we don't hype things up too much. Because I think I think they can trust us more with that. And I don't mind getting lower viewing figures if we're, so long as we're not sensationalizing.
Yeah, no, I can completely see that. I mean, one of the things that I do see in your content that I find actually quite refreshing, but I really wanted to get your take on it, is you can come across quite anti-establishment at times with your views on things. You're very critical of, say, central banks and the need for decentralization of the system. Why? So my question is really, why are you so passionate about crypto for people?
Well, I think decentralization, I feel is a form of individual freedom. And I think that crypto makes that possible. Crypto is giving us the opportunity as individuals to achieve that. And I mean, as far as the kind of anti-establishment thing goes, I mean, I think my views are generally in line with the rest of the crypto industry. I mean, I really feel that central banks, these institutions, they've let us down so badly in the last few years, especially. I mean, for a long time, but especially in the last few years. And that's why really Bitcoin came about. That's why we have cryptocurrency now. So I mean, I think I guess I'm passionate about it because crypto gives us something to push back against this status quo with. It gives these institutions a run for their money, and I hope. I mean, I'm not that confident of it, but I hope that it will force these institutions to sort of to look at themselves and think how they can better serve the people, which is what they are supposed to do, and to my mind, haven't really been doing it.
Definitely. I mean, on that basis, I mean, 20, 30 years ago, we weren't getting, sort of green parties came in kind of around Europe. Could you imagine a world where we start seeing sort of blockchain, crypto-related political parties?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think it's going to become a massive issue. I mean, I think you're already seeing that, especially in the US. A lot of politicians are waking up to the fact now that crypto and blockchain are important to people, and that it's becoming a more and more of a hot button issue. And what's interesting, I think, is that it doesn't have to be a partisan one. I mean, I know that there's talk that sort of Republicans tend to be more into crypto and Democrats less so. I don't think that's necessarily reflected in the makeup of voters. I think voters across the spectrum are pro crypto, and I think we're definitely going to see that become a much bigger issue in the US, and that's going to spread to Europe and the rest of the world. And I think as people trust their governments less, and as people trust things like the dollar less and less, the financial system that we have at the moment, and I think also as well, younger voters are going to play a really big role. Young people are so into crypto. They are the ones who are going to shape it in the next few decades, and they're obviously going to become more and more politically aware and politically active. So I think that they will probably drive that massively over the next sort of 10, 20 years. So short answer, I think it's going to be a huge issue.
Yeah, I just looking forward to seeing what the political parties' logos are going to look like for the crypto parties. It's interesting because I think crypto and blockchain, it presents an actual kind of genuine existential threat to politicians and parties. I mean, you've got DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations. They I think could be a genuine threat to the political status quo. And a genuine alternative because we just day after day we have examples of how fallible politicians are. Fallible at the good end and just plain corrupt at the bad end, at the other end. So I think that's something that politicians really need to think hard about. I think they themselves could be under threat from crypto, not just as an issue, but a kind of existential thing as well. That'd be very interesting. So to jump back to what you're saying about the team growing, is it what's allowed you to put on your own event? I mean, it sounds really exciting. There's a real live crypto event going on in London. Tell us more about this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the growth of the team has really helped that. I mean, my colleague Macy, who we sort of brought in originally to kind of help us with the social media side of things, she's been instrumental in. I mean, she's basically organised the whole thing. I've sort of given advice and helped where I can, but yeah, she's been the driving force behind it. And yeah, as you say, it's a really exciting thing to be putting on and to have here in London. And yeah, I wanted it to be a kind of, I guess, an opportunity for, like, I guess, the average crypto holder to come along and kind of meet like-minded people, meet us, meet the rest of the team, kind of see what Coin Bureau is all about, and just kind of, I think a lot of events tend to be, for their own good reasons, they tend to be quite B2B. Quite often it's an opportunity for whales to network with other whales, and we wanted to do something a bit different from that, because there are plenty of opportunities to do that wherever. And what we wanted to do was, give the ordinary person in the street who may not have a six-figure crypto portfolio, but is really passionate about it anyway, give them the opportunity to just come and hang out and sort of and see what the industry looks like from the inside, I guess. And yeah, that's why we've got some of the guests that we're having. I wasn't really all that interested in sort of getting huge kind of VCs along to talk to people. I thought it would be much more fun to get sort of other content creators. We've got the likes of Rob from Digital Asset News is coming along, DeFi Dad, Maven Altman as well. Just kind of regular people who are making just really cool and accessible content to come and talk to people, to regular people like themselves. But yeah, and I mean, as far as the team goes, it's been instrumental. We couldn't have done it without them.
So, I mean, obviously the first event hasn't even happened yet, so you're probably not even thinking of this, but can you see more events in future if it goes well? Is it something that you're looking to grow?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, obviously we have to see how this one goes. I'm sure it'll be a big success, but obviously I think we're going to learn a lot from it and get a really good idea of what works and maybe what doesn't work so well. But yeah, I think definitely as long as it's a success, which it will be, I think 100% there'll be more events. And yeah, I mean, here in the UK, but maybe elsewhere as well. I guess it depends where people would. I'd love to kind of listen to subscribers and see where they'd like us to come to, and where could really benefit from an event like that.
Brilliant. That sounds absolutely great. So how can people, do they need to buy tickets? Do they just come along on the day? What's the plan?
We've still got a few tickets left. I think we're almost sold out, but there are links
exciting
on our website. Which is great. But I think there are still a handful left. There are links on our website, and there are usually links in the video description as well, on our main YouTube channel. So yeah, get them while they're hot.
Brilliant. So one thing I did want to ask, if you could have one crypto wish granted today, no question asked, the only caveat is it can't be just to give yourself a load of coins, what would it be?
That would be terrible, wouldn't it? If I just sort of awarded myself 1 billion Shiba Inu.
That's like £3 or something.
I just want to hold 1 billion of them. I guess. Well, I'd love to see the back of kind of all scammers. If I could click my fingers and all the kind of scammers and bad actors and bad operators could go away, that would be amazing. I suppose what I'd really like is for crypto to sort of remain decentralized, remain independent, out of the hands of the powers that be. And I think there are worrying signs, because I mean, especially with DeFi protocols and a lot of proof of stake blockchains, we are seeing a lot of big money kind of buy significant stakes in that, and obviously that gives them a lot of power. And I mean, this is something that the likes of Vitalik are worried about as well. I mean, who am I to disagree with him? But it is something that does keep me up at night. This idea that big money, that the establishment kind of gets their hands on crypto and tries to mold it to what they want it to be. I want it to stay independent. I want it to stay in the hands of developers, in the hands of people who know what its ethos is and know why it's here and what it's for.
Yeah, I mean, it is a concern. Something like BlackRock come in when Ethereum goes proof of stake and just buys half of it. Like, what
Yeah.
happens? Liquidity's not there for that, but
I mean, but yeah, you do see these. You are seeing these huge institutional buys and these big investments from kind of legacy players. And I mean, on the one hand, it is good. It's great that the industry is attracting investment, and that is going to make it stronger, and it's going to give it a lot more lobbying power. So it's going to make it harder for politicians to take it on. But there is a real flip side to the coin, and that is, how much power are these big players going to accumulate for themselves? So although we should celebrate investment, it shouldn't be under any illusions that it constitutes a big threat as well.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Well, I won't keep you any longer. Thank you very much for your time. If anyone watching isn't already subscribed, Coin Bureau on YouTube, coinbureau.com, the website?
Yes.
Yep,
Coinbureau.com is our website. Yeah, that's all the kind of sort of news, longer form articles, things like that. And we're on TikTok as well. We've got the Coin Bureau podcast. Where else? Instagram, Twitter, all the places you'd expect.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time today, Guy, and I'll see you at the event.
Lovely. Yeah, looking forward to it, Liam.